All right, this week we're going over presence and approach. With me I have Officer Jason Brandstetter and Officer Anthony Acevez. Jason, can you tell everybody?
A Chicago police officer over almost 23 years now.
I'm a Chicago policeman, 23 years.
All right. So today what I need you guys to begin to understand and develop is like your position when you're approaching a subject. So we're going to use Officer Jason here as our subject, right? And I'm working with Officer Anthony. All right, so as we approach a subject, we're not going to be shoulder to shoulder. We're not going to stormtroop at him. Right? We're going to be nice and relaxed. As we approach him, I'm going to let Officer Anthony, this is a suspicious person, I'm going to let him address him, and I'm just going to follow his lead. If you had any, what would you say here right now, suspicious person, Officer Anthony?
I'd approach him, I'd say, how you doing? Ask him what he's doing. Tell him to take his hands out of his pockets first and foremost. I'd question him. What are you doing out here, or whatever the circumstances are. Wait for his response to see if it's something that is reasonable, and if it's not reasonable, then I'll continue to question him. And if he matches the description of somebody that is wanted for burglary or something like that, I'll tell him that information. Say, hey, you match the description. That's why I'm stopping you. That usually kind of calms people down a little bit, so that you don't think you're just stopping for no reason. And I'll explain to him what the reason and the nature of the stop is.
Oh, fantastic.
What if I don't want to take my hands out of my pocket? What if I don't want to listen to your commands?
Well, then I'm probably going to take a step back
Yep.
and try to reason with you. Please take your hands out of your pockets. It's for my own safety. And at that point, I'm going to be ready to go, and so is my partner.
Okay.
Because we don't know what he has in his pockets.
Excellent. So in this week, what I need you guys to understand is the position that he took and then his approach. And definitely, this is our presence. What you'll be tested on is how we triangulated. Like, we're not going to be shoulder to shoulder. We're not going to run up on him, right? We're not going to jump on him in a threatening manner. You see, he de-escalated the situation. He's giving this individual or the subject every chance to comply and relax and then let the situation unfold as it may. Are you good with that?
Yes.
Good.
I think as a bad guy too, I definitely feel more comfortable that you have your distance. I don't want to be jumped on. I don't want you guys in my face. I want to know what's going on. So like the way you guys are right now, that's perfect. I feel comfortable as a bad guy. I feel comfortable that way. I wouldn't want you guys to jump on me.
Yeah.
And start asking questions and being so close. That's perfect the way you are right now.
All right, perfect. All right, also, so DOJ conducted interviews on individuals that assaulted police officers, whether willingly, knowingly, or just at the spur of the moment. One of the things that became common was that subjects, if they are going to assault an officer, they're looking for the officer that is disheveled, that he's not very professional in his appearance and his approach. So you want to have command of the situation, you want to have command of the subject, right? You want your uniform to look good. All right, you want to look good, you want to be on point, and you have to learn how to wear 1,000 faces for 1,000 different situations, which that's coming up next week when we talk about rhetoric. Any input on this as far as any advice that you'd have for new officers in the first time that they're approaching a subject and they've been tasked with it? They're going to be nervous, there's no question about it. To keep them from maybe their hands shaking or their voice shaking, do you have any advice for them?
Well, that's a tough one. That's just based on experience. The more experience you have with making these kinds of stops, the less nervous you're going to be as you go along. It's like anything else. So I would just say breathing, just control your breathing, and that usually helps to kind of eliminate some of that anxiety. But as far as the stop goes, one thing we learned in the academy that I always try to maintain, that I've maintained throughout my career, is they always said have they call it the business stance, where you're bladed and you have your hands right here. That way, if he attacks you, which can happen really fast, you can defend yourself, or you can get your gun. Your hands aren't down here, and you're not standing like this where they can just knock you over. You're in a position where you're balanced, like as in boxing, and you have your hands here, and if he comes and say he attacks you with a knife or pulls out a gun, you can step back, you can draw your weapon, create some distance.
Fantastic.
I think respect goes a long way too with the way you talk to somebody, right? So you come in screaming and yelling like a wild maniac. No, now I'm going to be a wild maniac. Anthony, the way he approached me, super professional, asking me questions. That's the guy I want to talk to right there. So as a bad guy, I just want to be treated with respect, just like he does, right? So he treats me with respect. Chances are, for my safety as the police officer, hopefully that bad guy's not going to get anything could set me off. You know, you don't know that, you don't know me, right? We don't know each other. Anything could set me off. So just be professional, and I think that goes a long way as far as safety goes.
And that's a great point. Some guys, bad guys are usually, they're used to being dealt with by the police in a certain monotone or a certain way. And initially when you encounter them, they'll start reacting, you know, negatively towards you immediately because they're waiting for that, you know, for that confrontation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I typically try to do is I try to use like a soothing voice. And you can typically tell, some people are different than others, but for most people it'll work. If you're kind of soothing and you're just as a matter of fact about, you know, what the information you're giving them and you're being honest with them and letting them know what's going on, that tends to calm them down significantly.
You know, and I've seen a lot too, so you come in with the soothing voice or whatever your technique is, and the bad guy be like, oh man, I know what you're trying to do. But they respect it, you're not, you know, treating them a certain way that they don't want to be treated, and then they'll comply, and that's all safety, you know, for the police officer. So be professional at all times.
Yeah, and don't make it personal.
Yeah,
Correct.
Cannot make it personal. You go home miserable every day.
Because they're going to try to push your buttons, and most guys react to it. They start getting all angry, and then you just start trying to push their buttons. Next thing you know, you got a full-blown fight.
You just escalated. That could, if you would have just been professional, relax. Okay, yeah, I'm this, I'm that, but you're going to jail, and they know what's going on. They know what's about to happen. They just want to see what they can do first before they go. So yeah, just be professional. Couldn't have picked a better guy to be professional. This is it right here.
Not bad for a guy from the basement.
All right, good stuff, good stuff.
Awesome.
Good stuff. All right, so we'd like to thank Officer Anthony and Officer Jason for helping us out today. And then in anything that we worked on today, do you have any advice for any of the kids, or is there anything that you've personally experienced that they would benefit from knowing?
Hands. Always make sure that you can see a person's hands. That's what's going to kill somebody.
Okay.
Just be safe. A lot of it's common sense. I can probably say that for every video. Common sense. Watch your hands, and you know, always be professional.
All right, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anthony,
All right.
good stuff.